Us. You mean a lot to me for being here. And thank you to all the people that reached out to me to tell me that they never comment, but they're always here. It means a lot to me. So thank you. I am having a hot flash. It is so hot. I just blow dried my hair. So you know how like after you blow dry your hair, you're like scalding hot? Well, that's where I am right now. Putting on my watch. Okay. I am actually, hey Teresa, I'm actually, you know, I don't normally go live on Wednesdays, but I had something on my mind that probably could be a learning lesson to both of us. I'm going through some things with my family, and I thought today, without sharing the story, I would share the story, if that makes sense. Today is a surprise video. I'm going to get ready because I have a field trip. I have a field trip at 10 o'clock this morning, and there's 26 kids and 19 adults. It's a homeschool group. They come every single year. They have come to my farm every year since day one. So I'm very close to them. I don't feel nervous because they've been here. They've been here. I guess for 5 or 6 years now, and they were one of the very first homeschool groups. They're like a co-op that has ever like consistently been to my farm. So they know my farm, they know my animals, they know me. So I don't feel quite as nervous. Sometimes before a field trip, I just get nervous, you know. I don't know. I don't know why I get nervous. You would think I'd be over that by now, right? But I'm not. I'm a little nervous, but not today because they know me. I have something heavy on my heart, and it is boundaries. That's what I want to talk about today, is boundaries. And I'm just going to make up some story. And I want you to, is it too early for your brain to think? Maybe you need to go get a cup of coffee. I've already drank 2 cups of coffee, so I'm on my water now. I try to drink tons of water because the doctor said I needed to drink plenty of fluids because of my fluid in my ears. I haven't told y'all this, but I think I'll tell you right now. So Monday, I went and got a second opinion about my ears. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're new to my channel, I think in July, I had major surgery. I had a deviated septum repaired. I had my sinuses done. I had my ears done. And they also, when they got in there to do my tubes in my ears, they noticed that, I don't know if I'm saying it the right medical term, but they did an ablation in my ears. In other words, they stretched the tubes that connect to the sinuses because I kept having chronic ear infections. And they told me it would take 8 weeks to heal. Well, that was I think it was July 9th is my surgery. And I'm not having ear infections, but I feel as though there's socks stuffed down my ears. And it's like a muffled sound. And so my hearing is not the best because I feel like I have socks stuck in my ears. And so I went back to the doctor, after my surgery, and he said, well, you got to give it 8 weeks to heal, Judy. You've had major surgery. And I'm like, okay, I just haven't given it long enough. So I allowed, 8-10 weeks to go by, and I'm not any better. So then I went back to the doctor, and I'm almost in tears at this point because my hearing is so different. And so when I went back to the surgeon, they did a hearing test, and I failed it. And he said, you're going to need hearing aids in the near future. And I realized that is not detrimental, but it was to me, okay? It was detrimental to hear that I'm going to need hearing aids. So he then said, I think that you have fluid in your inner ear, and that has nothing to do with your surgery. That is a disease called Meniere's disease. Never heard of it a day in my life. And he said, I don't want to put you on medicine right now, but I'm not dizzy, but I feel off balance sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like I'm about to fall as I'm walking. And sometimes the hearing is worse, and sometimes it's not so bad. It's like off and on. But I literally, when I bend over, I can hear the fluid sloshing in my ears. So I definitely know that there's fluid. So the diagnosis did not sit right with me. So I went and got a second opinion Monday. Well, she said, I do not think that you have Meniere's disease. You know how doctors are, they all say something different. So she said, I do not think that you have Meniere's disease. She said, because Meniere's disease, the whole room would be spinning. I said, well, it's not doing that. She goes, then you don't have Meniere's disease. And I said, well, so she ended up doing a hearing test. And she said, your test is not so bad that you need hearing aids, in my opinion. And I said, well, what's wrong with me? And she said, well, I don't know if the muffled sound is from your tubes. She said, but I can't take your tubes out. She said, you'll have to go back to your surgeon. And I said, well, is that surgery to take them out? She said, yes. And I was like, oh, I ain't having surgery again. No one's touching my ears. The tubes are supposed to fall out in 6 months anyway. So I was like, I'll just deal with it. No one's doing this to me again. So then she said, has anyone done an MRI of your brain? And I'm like, oh, Lord, she's opened up in a whole nother can of worms. You know what I'm saying? And I said, no. And she said, well, sometimes, a brain tumor can cause what you're feeling. And she said, to be on, it's not that she thinks I have a brain tumor. It's more like we need to rule out all the serious stuff first. Before we start really digging in deep into your ears, we need to rule out to make sure, that you don't have a tumor. It's kind of like, what I'm saying? It's not like she's like, oh my gosh, you've got a brain tumor. It's more like we need to do this for precautionary matters because I would hate to miss that you had a brain tumor and that was causing everything. And then I just think it's your tubes in your ears. And I left there going, are the doctor's appointments ever gonna stop? My calendar is so filled with doctor's appointments because of my melanoma, because of my ears, it's just a lot. So I decided, because of course, when you hear you need an MRI of your brain, it is a little scary. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're like, I don't have a brain tumor, it feels like, well, what if I do? You know what I mean? Even though I don't think that I do, but in my back in my brain, you know how our brain goes to, like, sometimes our brain goes to a bad place. So, of course, as a human being, as soon as she said you could have a brain tumor, I'll tell you where my brain went. It didn't went, well, Judy, this is a routine thing just to make sure that you don't have a tumor. Like, my brain didn't go there. My brain went to, oh my gosh, my brother had a brain tumor. Oh my gosh, my aunt had a brain tumor. And it went to a really, really bad place. You know, I'm like on this road and I'm supposed to stay positive, and my brain curved to the left, my thought process, and then I immediately, because my mom's sister died of a brain cancer. And I will tell you, when my brain went into left field, I started going, oh no, Aunt Helen was off balance. Oh no, Aunt Helen talked about, you know, not being able to hear correctly. She had a glioblastoma tumor. And of course, you know, I went from, well, this is just a routine thing, you know, like it's not a big deal. She's just ruling out. So, oh, and my aunt died in 6 months. My brother had a brain tumor, but his was benign. So my brain went to a really bad place. And then I had to go, stop, pause. What are the facts, Judy? What are the facts? Well, the fact is, I've not been diagnosed with any brain tumor, right? So, like, why are you going to left field, Judy? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm like having a conversation with myself. And I'm like, I guess I'm just panicking, you know? And I'm like, Judy, that's not a good place to be in. Let's don't do that. You know, I had to be kind to myself. I realize you're worried, Judy, but chill out. You know, it could be something, it could not. But worrying is not going to help the situation. It's not. So I was able to pull myself together and go, stop it. Stop it, Jody. Just stop it. So I'm okay now. I'm not panicking. But I do have an MRI. And I can't remember. It's in October. It's like the 1st of October. But I do have that. So I just feel like I'm like, let me just tell you what you need to do. You need to stick a vacuum cleaner down my eardrum and pull the fluid out, and then I'm good. I will be good if you will just suck this fluid out of my ear. And I'm here to tell you that I am not drinking caffeine, and I've watched my sodium, and it ain't getting better. So anyway, that's one thing that's on my mind. Okay, boundaries. This is not an actual situation. Do you hear me? Someone's going to go, is she talking about me? No, I'm not talking about you. I'm making up a story, okay? This is a made up story, but I want to show you how boundaries work, okay? So do not, if you are my friend and you come to my house, I am not talking about you, okay? Did you hear me? Don't take your brain to left field and start thinking I'm talking about you. All right. Boundaries. Let's say that I invite a friend over to my house, okay? And let's just say she's helping me clean the chicken coops, okay? And she gets over here at 7:30 in the morning. Let's just say, okay? And we begin to clean out the chicken coops. And let's say we're done by noon, okay? So from 7:30 to 12 o'clock, we're done, okay? And because this person is my friend, let's just say, Well, she knows that I have other responsibilities, like I have Larry in the house that I have to prepare food for and check on and so forth. And this person wanted to come to my house specifically to help me clean out my chicken coops. So we're done at 12. And then we sit down. And let's just say we sit, I don't know, outside under a tree, and we just start chit-chatting, right? Because we're friends or whatever. And I told you that the chit-chatting started at 12 o'clock, okay? And 1 o'clock passes, 2 o'clock passes, 3 o'clock passes, 4 o'clock passes, and 5 o'clock is approaching. So we've been sitting under this tree for 4 to 5 hours talking, okay? And then I say, well, Shane will be home in a minute. I got to go cook supper. And she doesn't listen to what I'm saying, because I have to go cook. I'm got to go cook supper, because we have where a normal person, I guess, will clean out a chicken coop or clean out a closet, and then they can go and relax and watch TV at night or something. My life consists of, when everyone leaves, I still have chores. So like, I still have to, at 5 o'clock, I still have to cook supper, feed animals, and put animals to bed, and do the water. The barn water and the chicken water. So like, I still have, where I worked 4 or 5 hours in the morning, and then I sat for 4 or 5 hours, I still have, let's just say, 3 hours of work ahead of me. So at 5 o'clock, when I say, well, I need to go in here, I've got to cook supper. Or I need to go in here and check on Larry. I haven't been inside all day. I need to go check on Larry, and I need to cook supper. And she goes, well, okay. Well, yeah, go ahead. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, she's not leaving my house. I got to go cook supper. Like, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I've got to go cook supper, and I got to put the animals to bed, and I'm running behind in my head, because I'm on a schedule with my animals. My animals are in a routine. So when I say I need to go here and cook dinner, she doesn't get up and leave. Okay? So then I'm sitting here going, okay, well, Shane's fixing to come home from long hours of work. I have nothing prepared for dinner, and now I don't have time to cook because I have to go put the animals up. So me and Shane are not going to eat supper tonight. So instead of the friend going, oh, Judy needs to cook, I need to leave, she just sits there. So then I'm feeling uncomfortable. So at this point, do I put down a boundary and say, I need to go cook supper, so I'll see you tomorrow? Basically, it's almost like, for a people pleaser, it seems rude for me to go, okay, I got to go fix supper. You can leave now. Because it seems like I'm inconsiderate that she came and helped me for 4 hours clean the coop. Like, I feel like a terrible friend for saying that. So this particular situation, when I say, I'm going to go in here and cook, I'm going to have to go cook dinner, and she doesn't catch on. Oh, well, I'll go inside and help you. And you're like, okay. And I don't set a boundary. So the next thing you know, this lady is sitting at the kitchen table while I begin to cook. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is really strange, okay? And if I set a boundary and I say, no, you're not going inside. I have to cook dinner. I got to be by myself for a minute. I need you to go home. That is so rude to the person that I'm talking to. Well, daggum. She just had me come over and clean the chicken coop. Now she's kicking me out. So the lady comes inside and she's sitting in my kitchen while I cook dinner. And I'll be honest with you, at this point in my situation, I'm very uncomfortable because now I've let a complete stranger in my house that's never been in my house before. And Shane and I made a commitment to each other that we were not going to let anybody in our house anymore because we got burned. Okay, let's just put it that way. So when she comes in my house and Shane, okay, I've cooked dinner. So let me keep going with this story. So now she's sitting there while I cook dinner. I get finished with dinner. Okay? I get finished with dinner. And I began to put the food, the food that I have prepared on a plate. She's still sitting in my kitchen. So you're like, okay, I know she sees that we're about to eat. So do I say, okay, well, I'll let you go. You can leave now. We're fixing to eat dinner. She still stays in my kitchen. The food now is on me and Larry and Shane's plate, and the lady is still in my kitchen. What do you do? Do you go, hey, Joker, we're about to eat dinner? What do you do? If you set a boundary in that moment, what boundary are you setting? What are you saying to this friend that has just helped you clean out the coops? She spent 4 hours in the blazing heat scooping poop, and now she's in your kitchen and your food is on the plate and she ain't leaving. What are you doing? How do you put up a boundary? What do you say? Because she ain't catching on. Because not everyone understands boundaries. What do you say to her? It makes me very uncomfortable when this is happening. Because it makes me feel like if I put up a boundary, I'm not appreciating the work that she did in the coop. So in my head, I'm like, well, she worked 4 hours. Do I just invite her to dinner? Like, what do I do? I mean, I didn't lay out enough food for 4 people. So do I just cut back on me and Larry and Shane's plate portions so that I can provide her a meal? Or do I say, okay, we're about to eat dinner now. You can leave. Because she ain't catching on, y'all. She don't have boundaries. She doesn't respect other people's boundaries. She's still standing in my kitchen. I tell you what I would do. I would get so uncomfortable that I wouldn't know what to do, and I would end up making her a plate. Because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, okay? I'm not the type of person that would go, dude, you've worn out your welcome. I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So the next thing you know, I get out another plate. Okay? And when Shane gets home from work, he's not prepared that someone else is sitting at our table. Shane comes in from work and he's like, well, we got a guest. And she's sitting at the table with us eating our dinner. And then she finally leaves, okay? And Shane looks at me and goes, what the? And I'm like, I don't know. She just followed me in the kitchen and I was uncomfortable and I didn't know what to do. Okay, the story continues. So follow my boundary story. So I set no boundaries for her at all. None. Because I was uncomfortable. So the next day, she's decided she wants to volunteer. She wants to volunteer at the farm. So at 8 o'clock the next morning, she's in my garage. She's pulled in the driveway and I hadn't even gone to let animals out yet. And in my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to entertain all day long. And I got hospice coming. I got a tour. I got to clean. I got to feed animals. Because one day of missing farm chores it looks like you have not done farm chores in 6 months, okay? It is something that you have to do. You have to clean every single day, all right? So now she's sitting in my garage, and I still don't set a boundary. And so then I try to throw hints. And I'm like, well, I gotta go out here and clean. So I'll be back in a little bit. I got to go let animals out. Okay. And then we have a TV in our garage. So she's sitting in my garage watching TV. Okay? And I'm out at the farm doing animals. And I've set no boundaries for her. So what is happening to me? I'm starting to get mad. Because boundaries are not being respected on my end. So 5 o'clock comes. I've not set any boundaries for her. 5 o'clock comes. She follows me in the kitchen again. I'm bowling. I'm thinking in my head, this is not the kind of friend. I can't be smothered. Like, I can't do this. So what do I do? So I begin to prepare, and I have yet to set a boundary, but my mind is spinning out of control. What do I do? 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 So I thought in my head, oh, instead of making her a plate for her to eat with us, I'll make her a to-go plate. So I start to fix supper, and I go, hey, I'm going to make you a to-go plate. And she chuckles. So she's catching on, but she's still not respecting our boundaries. So I make her a to-go plate, and she does leave that time. And she's left. And I'm like, I'm feeling in a bad situation because I have to stop this behavior. And it forces me to do things I'm not comfortable with. It's almost like this boundary that I'm fixing to set is going to come across as I am not a very nice person. Because I've been forced into a corner. I've thrown hints. I've said, I need to go in here and cook supper. And she didn't respect my boundary. Then she comes into my house and I'm like, okay, she sees we're about to eat. She's still not respecting boundaries and she's sitting at our table. It's like the boundaries are being abused over and over and over again. So now because the boundaries have been broken, now I don't even want to be friends with her really because I've realized that this is a person that doesn't respect boundaries. So what do I do? What would you do? People that do not respect boundaries, when you throw down a boundary, they are furious. They are, because it's like when I throw down, I'll tell you the boundary that I'm going to throw down, because I know myself. The boundary I'm going to throw down is to totally, like, wipe her out of my life. I need a break. I need a break. I can't do this. I'm uncomfortable to throw down a boundary. But my boundary is, you can't come to my house. And she's like, what? I'm like, I just need a mental health break. And now she's saying, she's turning the situation around. And now she's like, Judy's not who she says she is. Judy, she gets on social media and she talks about mental health. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, she'll leave you in a heartbeat. You'll be friends with her, and the next thing you know, she's no longer your friend and she'll never talk to you again. Because I set a boundary. And my boundary was, if someone doesn't respect my boundaries, I really can't be friends with you, because I have a really busy schedule. When I enjoyed us sitting under the tree talking. I enjoyed her coming to help me with the chicken coop. But her coming in my house, following me to dinner, and then I have to make her a plate when I really didn't invite her to eat supper with us, that is overstepping boundaries. But now I've become a bad person because I set a boundary that I needed to break. Because I realized she was putting me in a really uncomfortable situation where I don't know how to act. Because let's just say that I would have set a boundary, because at the end of the day, when I begin to break things down, the first question I ask myself when I'm in an uncomfortable situation like this is, Judy, what could you have done differently? I say that all the time. I don't think I'm in the right. I'm like, Judy, get in her shoes. What could you have done differently? And sometimes when I'm in a situation where I have to put down a boundary, I have no idea. Like when I get off by myself at the creek and I begin to break things down, I don't always know the answer. I'm like, Judy, what could you have done differently? And I always come back to, I shouldn't have let it carry on this long, because now I have built up, I don't want to be friends, instead of putting down a boundary. But if I would have said, let's back up a minute. The first boundary that she broke was when I said, I need to go in here and check on Larry and fix dinner. Okay, she broke that boundary that I placed. So when I say to myself, what could I have done differently? She didn't catch on to the boundary, so what could I have done differently? If I would have point blank said, if I would have stopped in my tracks and said, okay, I have got to go fix dinner. I still have 5 hours, 3 hours ahead of me to do animals. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to end this talk. Thank you for your help today. I enjoyed our talk, but I have to go inside and see. If I would have said that without saying, you need to go home, she's going to go, oh, okay, well, I'll go help you fix dinner. So I would have had to say, when I step back and evaluate the situation, I'm like, I would have had to say, thank you so much for your help today. You helped me in so many ways. You know, I always appreciate people that are willing to come help me scoop poop. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for sitting here for 4 hours and talking to me. Thank you. I enjoyed our talk. I enjoyed getting to know you. But unfortunately, right now, I'm going to have to leave, and I'm going to have to go cook supper and check on Larry. So I will see you tomorrow. Maybe I should have said that, because that's more gentle going, okay, and now you're going to need to leave. You're going to need to go home, and you're going to need to leave. If I would have said, of course, you don't know when you're talking to someone that they're about to abuse a boundary, right? So then when I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to go. I got to go cook supper, and she ignores me. I'm going to go help you cook supper. I guess I should have said, no, I need to go inside. I need you to go home. We've been together for 9 hours today, so I need to go do what I've got to do. Well, I'll help you. No, you're not. Well, dang, you know, all she wants from me is just for me to come clean out the chicken coop. She's a terrible friend. Those things happen because people don't understand a boundary. And people that don't understand a boundary, they flip it. And instead of listening to what you have to say, they flip the situation, and then they begin to make it about how terrible of a person you are for putting down a boundary. You feel me? It is a tough situation to be in. And it makes me so uncomfortable. And when I finally have to set down a boundary, it's usually not in the moment, because in the moment I'm so uncomfortable. So then I have to get away from the situation and present the boundary afterwards, because in the moment I don't know how to set down the boundary, because when someone does that to you, you really don't know what to say, because it's almost like you're like, what? I mean, what? And then to do it again the next day? And then I make you a to-go plate and you just keep on? It's a tough situation to be in. I'm going to tell you what I think that we need to learn from this. We can't control other people, right? Other people are going to disrespect our boundaries. I don't think I'm that person. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like I'm always the person that goes, well, I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you go. Do you need any more help? Can I do anything to help you? Okay, go and check on Larry. Go check on Larry. I got to go grocery store anyway. You go check on Larry. Enjoy your supper, and I'll talk to you later. That's how I am. I would never, ever invite myself into anyone's house without asking first. Like maybe I text and say, I don't know, can I come sit down and talk to you? I mean, but I would talk to them outside. I mean, if I'm not a really close person with them, I'm not going in their house unless they say, come on in. I'm not I'm not inviting myself to the supper table, okay? That is not my personality at all. But there are people that overstep boundaries. So as we sit here, we can't control other people. All we can control ourselves. So when you're put in situations like this, you have to be mindful to go, ooh, I need to make sure that I don't do that. Because I know how it makes me feel when someone just shows up at the supper table and you didn't invite them. So I need to be mindful that to make sure that I'm respecting other people's boundaries. That is dancing. That is being the best version of yourself, is being mindful that there are boundaries. People have boundaries, and they're all like, you know, like when you think about a boundary, like with a friend, because we're talking about friends, respecting, as you get to know someone, you know what the boundaries are. You know, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know, you know, like for example, if you know that I put animals to bed at 6 o'clock, okay, I am wide open willy at 6 o'clock. From 6 to 7 right now, because it gets dark at 7. From 6, well, really, let's back up. I start cooking dinner between 4:30 and 5. So from 4:30 to 5, I can't sit here and hold the phone like this. So chances are, if you want to talk to me between 4:30 and 7, the best way to talk to me is through Messenger, through voice text. And I'll tell you why. Because nobody wants to try to, like, let's see. Let's pretend like this is my phone. It's not on, is it? Nobody wants to walk around the kitchen trying to cook, wrestling animals, trying to put animals to bed like this. I would much rather have the phone in my pocket, because Messenger does not bug me, okay? Because I can listen. So if I have my phone in my pocket and I'm talking to somebody through Messenger, let's say you have something important to talk to me about. I can put the phone in my pocket, I can hit play, and I can go out there and feed the animals and talk at the same time. For me. But see, some people have different boundaries than me. Because some people, it's usually the older generation. You know how, like, we didn't grow up with Messenger, or we didn't grow up with text message. So sometimes a boundary is, sometimes I just need you to call me on the phone and talk to me. Because it seems disrespectful to receive a text or a message to some people. Like, sometimes they think, well, all you do is text me, or all you do is send me a message. Where I function more with I'm not a talk on the phone kind of girl. I hate, now if it's something that, you know, serious, and you need to talk to me on the phone, don't get me wrong, I talk on the phone. But I am a more message, and I don't really like text. When people, like, if I send a gift and someone texts me, like, it seems inconsiderate to me too. I guess I'm an old fogey. I'm like, all I got was a text, because we're used to more than that, right? A phone call would be nice. Like, say it's your grandkid and you send them a present and all they do is go, thanks, Grandma. You're like, dude, but I want to hear your voice. Pick up the phone and call your grandmother. I want to hear your voice. But see, the younger generations are not like that. They said thank you. They said thank you through a text, and you're like, that is not a thank you to me. I hate to break it to you. Thank you to me is to pick up the dang phone and call me and tell me thank you. I just spent $300 on your birthday present. I want you to FaceTime me or call me on the phone. I want to hear your sweet little voice. People have different boundaries. And as we get to know people, but some boundaries are understood. Like some boundary, you should know better. Like following someone into the kitchen to eat dinner with them when you weren't invited. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you just abused that boundary. Right? I mean, come on. But what happens is when you set a boundary and you make the other person mad because you set a boundary, then it's a fight. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever set a boundary to someone and then it ends up in a fight? And when you sit back and go, what could I do differently? And you really break it down and you're like, the only thing that I think that I could have done different is told her in the moment, hey, I didn't plan ahead. But of course, when she was coming inside to help me with the dinner, I didn't know she was going to eat. I didn't know she was eating with me. You know, there were so many boundaries that were broken. But when you set boundaries for people that abuse boundaries, I'm getting a preaching stick out. When you set a boundary to someone that doesn't like boundaries, you're gonna make them mad. And their madness may never come back to normal, or their madness may be short-lived, but they think they're right. You set a boundary, they think you are the most disrespectful person ever. I came over there at 7:30 in the morning to help her clean out chicken coops, sat and talked to her, listened to all her stories, and now she's telling me I can't come to her house because she needs a break. Being the best version of yourself is understanding if you have overstepped your boundaries. I need you to listen. If you don't listen to anything else I said today, I need you to listen to this. I think I need to get out the preaching stick. When someone says something to you, I need you to pause. Because when someone says something to you that makes you mad, because maybe they're setting a boundary themselves to you because you didn't understand the boundaries, let's just say. To be the best version of yourself is to pause in the moment and break it down. What is that person telling you? And I will tell you, and listen to me good, people that have trauma in their life fire back quickly. Because when you set a boundary to someone and they fire back and they start saying, you make me feel this, is the moment being the best version of yourself is to pause and go, I'm making them feel a certain way. That's not what I intended, but that's how they feel. You know at that moment that you have triggered a trauma response in them. A trauma response in them is something that's happened way before you entered the picture. But you struck a nerve with them. You can't fix that. That's not your problem. Setting a boundary to someone and they got triggered by past trauma is not your fault. But the person being triggered by the trauma response is going to say, you act just like my friend growing up. Can't say, like, you act just like my friend. That is a trauma response. I triggered hurt in that person because I set a boundary. Being the best version of yourself is recognizing it and not taking it personal. They're going to treat it personal. They're going to tell you it's all your fault. You're awful. I came and helped you clean out that chicken coop and you just want to ditch me as a friend. Okay, well, fine. They're going to say that. Instead of that person pausing and saying, what is Judy trying to tell me? Oh. And when you break it down, you realize, oh, she told me she needed to go fix dinner. And the next thing you know, I followed her in the house. And I followed her in the house because I love being around her because she's so much fun. And I just wasn't ready to leave because I'm lonely. But I didn't respect Judy's boundary of she needs time with Shane and Larry. And I had been with her all day. If you come to my house wanting to clean out a chicken coop and you're expecting, let's just say, you're expecting something in return. What are you expecting? What are you expecting? Are you really coming to help me clean out a chicken coop? Are you coming for, what reasons are you coming? Are you coming because you're lonely and just need to be around someone and you know that you can volunteer at my farm? I can't fix loneliness. I can't. I'm Judy. I'm not a counselor. I tell you things that happen to me and how we can work to be the best version of ourselves because people overstep boundaries with us. But then again, there's times when you've overstepped boundaries with people and it's a trigger response to you when they call you out on it. It makes you so mad you can't see straight. I hope that I'm saying something that helps you today. Boundaries has been on my radar. I've had trouble in the past, I'm just going to say month, with disrespecting boundaries. I don't normally... Can y'all hear me? Shane just called. I'm not good at setting boundaries right off the bat because it makes me uncomfortable. And then when I set the boundaries later, they're like, why didn't you tell me this in the beginning? Why'd you wait 4 days to tell me? I'm like, because my brain doesn't work that quickly. I'm in slow motion and I can't process things as quickly as other people. I need a moment. So that's why I don't usually set the boundary right off the bat because my brain doesn't work that fast. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And sometimes when my brain works that fast, I say things I don't mean. So I have to stop, get out of the situation, pause, step back, and then say what I need to say in a polite, nice manner. Because the last thing I want to do is cause a bunch of friction. But when you set a boundary, you make people mad. So to be the best version of yourself is when people set a boundary with you, you need to be mindful of what they're trying to say. But I will tell you, most people get mad because you trigger a trauma response. You should know your traumas. Know when your trauma response gets triggered. I know I have a lot of trauma from past relationships, from things I grew up in and things like that. Write down when you get triggered, whether you get triggered with madness, you're emotional, you've got to stop yourself and go, what has happened in the past week? What is really bothering me? And chances are what's bothering you is not what someone said. It's something that it's a feeling that you're feeling. Because past trauma has been triggered in what someone has said to you. But what happens is when you know yourself really well, you know, oh, I'm getting triggered. Judy, you're not going to be homeless. Judy, Shane just said something to you. Don't go to the homeless. You're not going into the interstate, Judy. Calm your butt down. I have to have conversations with myself because I get triggered too. I have triggered responses. Know your fears because your fears is what triggers the response. Understand boundaries. Everyone should respect boundaries. If you're a friend, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a husband, you're an aunt, you're an uncle, understand boundaries. Don't abuse boundaries. You've ever heard, it's like if you start dating someone and you just throw yourself on them and you're no challenge to them, they're like, ugh. Like, people would want a little bit of a challenge. So if you stay on the phone, like when you're a teenager and you stay on the phone with them for 45 hours, you know, and you're, oh, I'm in love. Oh, the best thing's ever happened to me. And you've only been dating for 24 hours and you start posting in a relationship and, oh, he's everything. No, you're in a fantasy world. If you give them a little bit of a challenge and maybe instead of talking on the phone with them for 6 hours, be busy. Hey, thank you so much for calling, but I have got to go clean the house and I will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, when you don't throw yourself at people, you know what I'm saying? It almost feels like a game, but it's not. It's not. It's called a boundary. I love you guys. I hope I said something that can resonate with you today. It's Friday, and just keep in mind, pause, break things down, understand what people are trying to say to you. Be mindful of how, like, what's going on in you. Okay? Have a great day. My video will come out Saturday. I'll see you guys later. Love you.